Hi there, it's Dr. Obidi of the Newborn Prep Academy, and today we're going to be talking about a baby who has a big head. So maybe you've been told by your pediatrician that your baby's head circumference or the size of the head is big, and you're wondering if you should worry or not. Well, first of all, what's a big head called? A big head is called macrocephaly, which just means, again, the head itself is big. And there may be a number of reasons for this, right? The most common reason usually is just genetics, right? We are all different sizes. And so you have people who are tall and people who are shorter. You have people who are bigger and smaller. We're all different sizes. And so our body parts also can be different sized as well. And that is the case with the head. So you have some babies who have smaller heads and some who have bigger heads. Now, why do we worry about your baby's head and why and the size of it? So like I said, usually the most common cause is just going to be genetics. Maybe one or both parents have a bigger sized head, and so they pass that on to the baby. But there are other reasons that, that can happen that may be more concerning and is a reason why we check a baby's head circumference. To start with, how do we measure the head circumference? That's usually measured with a tape measure, and you usually are going to be measuring right around, just above the eyebrow, right around the head. So we're going to be measuring right there, right across, and get what that measurement is in centimeters or inches, and that is plotted against a graph to see how that compares to other babies that same age. And so you might hear something like your baby has a 50th percentile head circumference, which means that if we had 100 babies your baby's age, half of them will have a head smaller than him or her, and half of them will have a head that's bigger than your baby's. If you have a baby who has a head in the 80th percentile, then it means that about 80% out of 100 kids, your baby's head is bigger than maybe 80 of those kids, and 20 of those kids will have a head circumference likely to be bigger than your baby's head. And so sometimes we're not so much worried as the exact percentile, but also as more of, is that percentile changing? So if you have a baby who, for instance, has a head in the 50th percentile, but then at subsequent visits, it's gone up to the 60th percentile, 70th percentile, 80th percentile, it means that the head is expanding more rapidly than we might like. And so, there will be some cause to really investigate to see what's going on. Now, sometimes there's still nothing wrong going on, but you do want to look. And the reason is the skull itself. I'll show you some pictures here. This is from the National Health Service in the UK. That's a really nice picture, I thought, that shows you what a baby's skull looks like, right? It's actually made up of 5 different bones, all right? 2 at the front part there, 2 at the sides, and 1 in the back there. The front and the front is actually 1 bone, but it's almost like it's split there. And then you have where all those bones meet in the front, top of your baby's head, which is called the anterior fontanelle or the soft spot. And you have a smaller one in the back there where those 2 side bones and the one in the back meet, called the posterior fontanelle or, a posterior soft spot, right? And the reason why your baby's skull isn't completely fused and is made up of different bones is because it allows your baby's brain to grow. Now, your baby's brain does have some cerebrospinal fluid or some brain fluid in there that flows between different chambers within the brain. And sometimes there may be a blockage in one of those chambers that causes the cerebrospinal fluid to get pulled in there and accumulate, or it may just be that the chambers are producing more cerebrospinal fluid than is normal, and so again there's just more fluid in there, and all that can cause the baby's brain to expand and can compromise the integrity of a baby's brain and damage some functions. So that's why we check the head circumference to see if it is bigger than usual, and if it is this just something that's genetic or is there more going on? And so I say all this not to scare you if if you've been told your baby has a big head, but to say it is something that you certainly want to follow up with your pediatrician or your medical provider, and that you're following up with those visits to check those head circumferences. And if they feel there is need to do some additional studies like an ultrasound to check those chambers inside the brain to make sure they're the right size, or an MRI or some other study that you're following up, or maybe they may refer you to specialists, to a neurosurgeon, for instance, to further investigate the size of a baby's head. You do want to follow up with those with those appointments, because that can be important to make sure that your baby is safe, and that if there is an issue, that is addressed early before it causes any significant damage that may be irreversible. So there you have it. If you've been told that your baby has a big head, it isn't necessarily an issue, but it is something you want to make sure you're following up with your medical provider, because we want to make sure your baby is safe and that there are no issues. Dr. Obidi here. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it useful. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click the notification button so you don't miss a new video when one comes out. Now, I know sometimes choosing the right pediatrician for your baby can be a difficult decision, and that's why I want you to check out my free resource guide. It's a simple 3-part framework on how to choose the right pediatrician for your baby. You can find the links in the description below. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you back here again soon.